Oh my gosh, everyone, here we are. We are here. I am so excited to welcome you all to Office Hours, a podcast where we yap about the creative world and everything in between. When I tell you all that I purchased this microphone 3 years ago with the intention of doing this podcast, so the fact that we're now here 3 years later is absolutely bonkers, but I'm so excited. The podcast is called Office Hours because I'm a professor and I used to love the conversations that I had with my students when they would visit me during my office hours. First, talk about things that are relevant to class, but then I got to know them at like a deeper level. I got to know their hobbies and interests. I got to know more about their lives, and I really cherished those conversations. And the conversation we have with our guests this season are no different. We are going to be learning so much from them, and I'm so looking forward for you all to hear all the episodes. And to kick off this podcast, I could have not thought of a better person to invite as our first guest than Rhea Rendon, aka Romi. In our conversation, she shares with us her journey from when she started at school to where she is now with her community building. And we talk a lot about taking risks, getting comfortable with rejection, and having a level of delulu when it comes to your dreams. Rhea is someone very special to me. I met her 3 years ago when she had just graduated college, and now she has become this content creator, and like just everyone knows her. She's building all of these opportunities for herself and the community, and it was just such an honor to start this podcast with her. Let's get into it. All right, y'all, we're finally doing it. I am so excited to be introducing Rhea, aka Romi. And as the story goes, we actually met indirectly at first in Adobe Max in 2023. A few of us at Hello World were there. And I do believe that you met Sophia and Caesar and Tony that evening at the first bash. And then you ended up cold emailing me and being like, congratulating me on the studio and then reaching out if there were any opportunities. And then I was like, yeah, girl, let's do it. And so you've now helped us with a few projects at Hello World, including Work in Progress. And it has been such an honor witnessing the amount of growth that you've had in just like the last 3 years. And what I admire about you the most is just how much of a risk taker you are. I look at a lot of what you do and it reminds me a lot about my younger self. And I just love the beautiful path that you created for yourself, and what you've called your side quests. I love that you're always so busy. And really, the best part of the approach that you have in life is that you really come from a place of abundance. And so I always see you sharing your opportunities with the community, with others. And, you know, that's sometimes folks get scared to do that because they might not have those opportunities. And so you're just such a gem in our community. And I love knowing you. So yeah, thank you for making the time from your side quests and being on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited for this. So I'm
Yeah.
like,
Just gonna be all just us both squealing the entire time.
yeah.
So, okay, I obviously just shared a little bit about your journey, but for folks who are listening who don't know you yet, can you share with us a little bit about your journey, like where you went to school, and then like how you got to where you are today?
Oh, okay. So hi, my name is Rhea, aka Romi. I go by Romi on socials or like what I do right now. So what first started was that I went to CSUN as a graphic design major, and I was doing UX, UI, website design, everything like that. So it's pretty good. I like doing UX, UI, learning how to do websites because it's going to be a very important for portfolio. But then majority of my opportunities came outside of school because it was the fact that I was like, okay, job searching, it was so hard already. And I was like, okay, like, even if it's not a job, what can I do right now that would set me apart from someone and what to crave that creative soul? So during a time when I was going to Adobe Max, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm going to meet so many friends, meet many people. That's when I met Caesar, Sophia, and all the other people from Hello World. And then I was just connecting. I was like, oh my gosh, like, we're so good. Hey guys, like, let's be friends.
Yes.
Yes. And then I think I saw you too, but I think like um it was just like a word of mouth where people are like, yeah, like my professor is here, and I'm like, oh, I hope to see her. And like it was in a passing. But then when you I think like when I was like going through LinkedIn, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so cool. She's making a studio, like Chrislam. And then that's when I saw my mutuals were like, oh my gosh, like they're hyping her up. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is great. I love it because I love the fact that it's like a woman owned Filipino POC studio. Not a lot of people have that. And I was just like, I need to get on this board and just be like, let me see if I can see an opportunity just to help her out. Thus, that was where I met Hello World, and I loved her vision, and I love the fact that you were telling me about this is where I wanted to do a studio, and I was like, okay, I'll be on board. I want to help out either way. And then my first project was doing the logo, work in progress, and thus forward, we continued with the community events, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so great. I want to do community. I was like, how do I do this? It was just like a lot of learning processes. Like, I didn't know anything at that time. Just so you know, guys, I did not know anything. I was just like going along with the flow, having fun. And then I think after work in progress, you emailed me saying, hey, there's an opportunity. Like, do you want to be part of this creative retreat? Thus, I was part of it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so great, guys. Like, my first time being here. I'm not even a student, but I'm like, I'm glad to be here. So that's where it all started. And I got the contacts of like some Adobe people there. That's when I started. And then later on, those contacts helped me propel whatever I'm doing right now. Because throughout the times when I was helping you volunteer, I was doing my little side quests. I was going through Build Space, and I was like building up like a startup and like Korea too. Like, and then a lot of things. And then I was helping my friend do another community, which was Creative Run Club. And then there in that club, we were helping like content creators or video people. And then that's when I started getting into video too. I was like, I don't want to do video. Like, I'm a graphic designer.
Like picked up. Yeah.
Yeah. My friend was like, you got to learn how to do video. It's now like, you got it. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't go to film school. I don't do any of this. I do not know the technical things. He was like, I'm going to give you my camera. You're going to shoot. Go have fun. And all that's needed is that you're just shoot, and just have fun with it and make whatever content you want. And I think that's like the best approach to learning something new, is giving yourself like the fun out of something to learn.
Yeah.
Even if it is like overwhelming, you're like, oh, should I know the technical things? No, like don't. Like you don't need to know color grading. You don't need to know about it, like all of the technical softwares at the moment. If you enjoy shooting, like, you know, pretty little flowers, all of the people, then post that and then, like, you know, just see the progress after that. But that initial moment, my friend was helping me get a camera, and then I was like doing Creative Run Club. That's when I got like the role of like, hey, co-manage, like co-host. So I was co-hosting for Creative Run Club, and it started to pick up in a few months because we ended up doing a lot of like photo walks and everything while simultaneously helping you too in Hello World. So I was like doing a lot of community events. And then my friend was like, you know, let's do brand sponsorships. And I'm like, I do not know how to do a brand sponsorship. I do not know how to do emails. Just so you know, I just cold emailed people. I would just be like, so that's how everything started to where my side quest was going uphill, was when I emailed the people from the creative retreat that I was in for you, for your part. And I was like, what if, what if
Like, I have an idea.
I have an idea. I looked in the email from like 6 months apart from the last retreat. I was like, they send an email. Reach back to us if you got something new. We would love to catch up with you. Like, to any student, they would say that. They would say that. Like they're like, we want to know how you're doing. So I was like, I'm gonna pull my shot. I'm gonna do a pitch deck. I'm gonna do everything.
Let you know how I'm doing.
I'm gonna let you know. So I did an email, and I was like, hey, just so you know, it's me again from 6 months ago. And then they're
Yeah.
like, oh. And then I was like, hey, so we're doing this community thing for Creative Run Club. I was wondering, no pressure at all. Can you sponsor or collab with this event? We're doing a film festival because we love what we're doing and we're helping community. Mind you, this was like 4:30 p.m. I know 5 p.m. is like the time when they're like clocking out. So I was like 5 p.m. No, 4:30. Sent it out. I was like, okay, drilling down. I was like, this is not gonna work. I was like, this is not gonna work. Next thing you know, at 5 minutes in until 5 p.m., I was like, they're like, oh, do you have a meet? Do you want to catch up on Monday? I was like, what? I was like, what? So that Monday, I had a call with them and they're like, yeah, we would love to sponsor you guys. Like, you want to see if something can happen. And thus, we got sponsorship by Adobe. And then I think my relationship with them ended up working so well that we did a film festival. We did 2 film festivals, like giving out Adobe, like, subscriptions. And then after, they invited me and my co-host to go to the retreat back in San Francisco, like with and everything. And then that's when it started going uphill, when my content and what I thought my dream was, like, oh my gosh, community has been such a big thing to me. I want to keep going forward. Thus, I went to a spiral of like, oh, I'm doing a lot more community events here, and here we are right now. I would say like it's a lot of things, and I just do things that I really enjoy. I like, there's times where I'm like pressured, where I'm like, oh my gosh, like I should know this. But then I told myself, it's okay to not know, because that's where it all started, because that's where all the abundance is. And I was like, you're right. It's okay. I don't have to come at it with a mindset where I'm like, I know everything. I don't know. And that's okay.
Yeah. And as you were mentioning, you want to talk a little bit about your launch of Nowhere Now Here?
Oh my gosh. I was finishing a video just today. Okay, guys. So, yeah, my launch of Nowhere Now Here was a culmination of all the communities that I've helped with behind the scenes. So I've been helping with you, Chris Lim. I've been helping my friend Erin with Creative Run Club, and just like all my other experiences just behind the scenes of curating and managing people, but also curating in like a creative way where like these people are having a fun time, but then also at the same time, like I'm creating the branding, I'm creating graphics. And I was like, oh my gosh, like these creatives need a third space. Like I already have it. Like all my opportunities was because of people for where I am. Why can't I be the person helping the next generation of people and getting their own opportunities? And I was like, I've already been helped so much that I'm like, I'm getting all these opportunities that people are giving me. And because they know that I do, like, I'm a community creator. So like, they're like, hey, like, do you have any gigs for this one? I know you have other people, blah, blah, blah. And then that's when I like send it out. Like, that's why sometimes like I'm very grateful for the Adobe apprenticeship program, because when I first started, like they were telling me like, hey, do you know anyone from here? Hey, do you know everyone from here? Like, because I was helping them pick up people. And then thus, when I did that, I was like, oh my gosh, I really love giving these people opportunities. And it's, to be honest, I think I've given like more than 4 or 5 people like Adobe like apprenticeship opportunities, plus
It's
other
amazing.
outside. So yeah, like I feel like my abundance, like the privilege that I have right now to be able to give people some opportunities or gigs, is something that I really enjoy doing, because if I can't meet it, then other people can do it. Like if it's something that
Right.
I don't have like knowledge of a specific industry, I'm like, hey guys, I'm gonna give it to you guys. Do you want it? I like do that. But so yeah, like Nowhere Now Here is the culmination of all the communities I've made, but also at the same time, throughout all the journeys I've been through, like going like side questing to Japan, Korea, and all of that, I met so many creatives, and I was like, I need to document these people. Like some of them don't even know how to do content creation, or like they don't know how to content. But what if I do it, and I love talking to these people and loving to know their story? So why don't I create content behind these people behind the scenes working on some amazing projects, and telling them the story about like where their culture is, and like I would say like their culture, but then also at the same time the works that they've done. And then like, it's a good way for them to be like looking at their phone, they're like, that's me, like that is me. And I
Yeah.
love seeing the joy. And then I love seeing the comments where people are like, "Oh my gosh, my bestie!" Like I'm behind the scenes, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, my bestie, that's you! Like you're so great." It's like different. Like yeah, it's amazing, and launching it has been a joy. I'm like it's a lot, but like I would say like one of my favorite side projects that I'm doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, I remember it really did. Like, it started off with you had just told me you had just graduated, and then you were trying to figure out what to do. And then now you're like content creator, you're like with Adobe, with AIGA, you're just like, you're everywhere. And it was so nice to see how fast you grew. Cause I feel that I even personally didn't get to where you were like as active with the community until maybe like 5, 6 years in. And so for you to start so early and to also share so much of those opportunities is so beautiful. And one thing I remember at the launch of Nowhere Now Here, you had shared with us like a video. I think it was like right before you decided, either you had just decided or you were about to launch it. And it was just you. It kind of looked like you were at an airport for some reason. But it was like you were saying, I think you had your hoodie on and you're like, man, like, I don't know. I don't know what's going to come up, but I don't know what's going to happen when I launch this. It may do well. It may, nothing might not happen. And who knows, but how do you, because I imagine a lot of our listeners likely feel the same way about their own side quests or about their own decisions in life. And that uncertainty, you met it with like, you know what? Who, I don't know. Who knows? And let's just see what happens. Like, where does that come from? Where does that like internal motivation come from?
It's the fact that I'm so delusional that like when people say you're delusional, I'm delusional to an extent where I'm like I like it's either being delusional and you don't do anything and
Yes.
and you're like, "Oh man, I didn't do anything." But be delusional and still do it, but then still expect disappointment, but then when something good happens, you're like, "Oh my gosh, something
Right.
did happen." And
Right.
that's like what happens to all of my journeys where it's like I look back and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like how did I do that?" And I'm like, "You know what you did. You just did it even despite self-doubting yourself." But
Yep.
I feel like there's a difference with people who's like you can be you can have self-doubt. Of course, I deal with self-doubt
Right.
all the single time. All the creatives like our worth and everything. But what differentiates is like you have self-doubt, but then the regret of not doing it versus self-doubt, but then still pulling yourself and be like, "You know what? Even though they say no, I'm already expecting it 100%. Let me try that 1% and see where it goes." Just don't even look at it. Just be like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's like 1% of you giving yourself at least one hope even despite being pessimistic. I would say like every single day I have doubt. Every single day I have doubt. But like what pulls me through is the fact that 1% of me just seeing how it is. And also I think of life as a social experiment. I think of everything as a social experiment.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're playing a game like a
Mm-hmm.
lore where it's like, okay, I failed, but then you come back again. Like you failed, but then you come back again. So it's like a little social experiment. I trick my mind to this where it's like, you know, what if I do it? Like just in case. Like, I don't give any expectations, but what if, and then what
Mm-hmm.
if you actually did what you did and it becomes good? That's all,
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. And that's why I really embrace my self doubt. Sometimes I'm very grateful. Well, not grateful, but graceful. I take the appreciation to like cater that really anxious child because she's worried. She's like, "I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I'm scared." But then there's that part of me where it's an adult where it's like, okay, we can have self doubt, but let's put a little bit of to it to the side. Let's
Mm-hmm.
do a what if. Let's play a game and do a little social experiment and say, what if you did it? But you know what? You can always go back, but then you can always come back again. So yeah, it's like that. It's like being graceful, but
Yeah.
but letting your but letting yourself don't self sabotage to the point you're like, okay, I won't do it. But like you're like, okay, what if I try?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
that's a saying that I love that you're saying that because that's something that I say to my students like on I mean I tell them every like as much as I can, but specifically on the last day. I always tell them, I'm like, never deny yourself an opportunity. And that's very similar to what you're saying is that, well, if you want to do something, if you want to try something, you should apply, you should do it. And because what is the worst thing that could happen if you apply yourself to something? The worst thing that could possibly happen is you get rejected or they say no. And that rejection is just redirection. And I think you and I can both agree that the idea of the what if scenario is actually more scary than approaching it, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I would hate to ever think for some of the things that I've done in my life, like if I look back and I say, well, what if I didn't, what would have happened if I didn't, or sorry, what would have happened if I had applied versus actually applying and then either getting in or not getting in, right? And you just learn so much from that because you, like you said, that delusion, I think we all have to have like a sense of delusion to just lean in. If you're just like, this seems really crazy. I don't know if I'm gonna, like, I already know I'm probably not gonna get in, but like, who knows? Like you said, like that 0.1% could be your 0.1% chance.
Exactly. I sometimes even like to get myself through the rejection theory, like, getting rejected so many times.
Mm-hmm.
My friends would always tell me, like, how are you, like, doing, like, side quests all the time? It's because, number one, it teaches me that there's more to the world than just what you think. So I sometimes like even I made a friend out of a social experiment because I was like I want to go up in public and just say hi to them. If they don't want to be friends with me, it's okay. I'm going to get hurt, but at least that hurt makes me feel like okay, that was rejection. Just don't do that again. And at least you did it. At least you did it. It's the same thing like with this one. It's worse having the thought of seeing okay, and also another thing, like it's worse having a thought of what if and you didn't do it than having a what if and you actually did it and you actually got clarification.
Exactly. Exactly.
I would
Like
rather be told.
right? It's like it's better to know an answer. No is an answer, right? No is an answer. It's like it's like okay, I won't do that then. I won't go do that. I'll go do this instead. It'll redirect me somewhere. And I think that's so important to just to practice. You know, like I mean, there's obviously things like sometimes I'm met with a little bit of I'm met with a little bit of pushback when I tell people like never deny yourself an opportunity and go out there and do it. Obviously, there is a time and place when like if something is definitely without your reach, within not within your reach, maybe then bow out of it because then you could end up really hurting yourself or causing damage to your reputation or something like that. But if you feel like that you can, there's a chance, even if it's 1%, just do it. Just do
Just do
it.
it. Just ask. Like
Yeah.
honestly, you would not know until you ask, and also it helps you learn how to communicate better because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people forget to communicate. And then I would just be like, the way to
Mm-hmm.
communicate is just taking no as an answer. Like people saying like, "Hey, it's not the right time, but thank you for asking. Hey, we thought about you." And then like there are times where sometimes they don't think about it because they're like, "Oh, they're too busy." But the moment you say like, "Hey, is there any opportunity?" They're like, "Oh my gosh, there
Right.
is an opportunity," because
Yeah.
they're going back. Sometimes people are so busy that they're like, once you say something and ask for something, they're gonna be like, "Oh wait, we are looking for someone. Are you interested?" And that's how sometimes like you got to give them a little follow up every now and
Mm-hmm.
then. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like you will never know until you ask. And also at the same time, it's okay to doubt. We're all human,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. I doubt
Yeah.
myself all the time. I
Yeah.
sometimes
Same.
feel like I'm an anxious child. Like to keep it graceful, I just tell myself this. It's okay. You know what? You can be negative all you want. You can go to the
Mm-hmm.
corner, cry in the corner, be like, I don't like this. Why'd I do that? I don't want to be there. But sometimes, let's take it out. Let's put that aside. Let's kind of
Yeah.
like, let's let's be positive for a few minutes and see where it goes. And then
Yeah.
that's where even now I'm just like, it is what it is. I always say
It
it is what it
is.
is, what it is.
What would you say is, I have a few students who are going to be entering the workforce soon, and so they're getting acclimated with job hunting and applying for filling out applications, and they're met with rejection. And you just mentioned earlier that you're doing kind of like a rejection exposure moment, right? Just like allowing yourself to get rejected when it happens. What would you say to those folks who are right? Getting rejected is not, no matter what you and I both say, like rejection is redirection, but it's still gonna hurt, right? It's still gonna hurt even if you get rejected. So how have you learned to sort of decentralize yourself from the rejection? Like how are you able to just keep going? Like I know you said it
Hmm.
is what it is, but like what is there something else that you're doing, that you're saying?
I'll be honest, like even rejection still hurts me to this day, and I'm like, oh, it hurts. Like it hurts me. I tell myself like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to do that again. Why did I tell myself? Like it hurts me so much to where I'm like, I shouldn't have done it. It feels like a little like burn. But then I told myself, I'm
Mm,
like you can still have that. I have high sensitivity to rejection. Like I'm gonna tell you,
right.
like it hurts a lot. But
Yeah.
I'm just like, you know what? It's okay. Today I got rejected, but you know what? I'm gonna go do something where I'm gonna have fun. What if I go get a burrito? What if I get a cake? What if I and that
You
kind of like
you like give yourself a sweet treat whenever you're rejected.
it's more so like it's more so the redirection of finding something positive. You're like, okay, I
Mm,
got rejected, but that's not the end of the world. Hey, I can go
mm.
shopping. It's like those like it's like grounding yourself. It's like really grounding yourself. And then also at the same time you're like, okay, I got rejected. What should I do differently now? Sometimes
Mm,
and it's like the first few couple of seconds I got rejected where it's like, okay, it hurts, but I need to really try to be positive. I want to cry. But you know what? Today's a really sunny day. Like you really have to ground yourself because it feels like the world is toppling over you. Like it feels like,
mhm,
oh, no one wants me. But you're like, you know what? I got rejected, but it's a beautiful day. You know what? I got rejected. I can go outside and have fun. And it's
mhm,
like those steps where it's like you're lowering your anxiety, and then you're like,
mhm,
okay, once you're there, like you're like, okay, rejection is like bad, but then you're like, okay, what's my next step? How do
mm.
I apply? How do I apply to a job or like get any gig? I just tell myself sometimes I would go to that's why I would make a lot of events. I would go to events and make friends because it's like
Mhm.
it's not like the expectation to be like, oh, I want a job right away. I know a lot of people want a job and to say, but it's like creating friendships along the way because over time, these people are like, hey, like we thought of you about you, like you're really cool, and then
Mm.
we're working with, and then we would love to work with you with some projects because we know you so and so, and it's like it's funny because people think like, oh, we need a facade to like to get these jobs and like quickly get
Right.
these jobs. It took me a long time, and it's okay. Like it's okay if it takes a lot of time to get your first gig or anything.
Mm.
Just be a good person, like not like a good person, but like meet people as a friend and get to know them as a friend versus like, oh, I want to connect with someone just to connect with someone.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Mhm.
also at the same time, rejection is always going to be there. You just have to
Mhm.
learn how to be positive, and then like I would love to be a pessimistic, but I can't. My mind has learned to be like, okay, you know what? You got rejected. Just be like, shrug it off and be like,
Yeah.
it hurts. But like,
It
you know what
hurts,
I can
but
do?
feel it feels. Go get a burrito.
Go get a burrito. Or like, be like, you know what? I can just go out and talk to my friend. Or like, just do whatever you do to calm that child because you're like, oh my gosh, it's so bad. But like, like you just have to calm them down.
Yeah. I an interesting thing that you just said that we were actually going to get into, so we're just going to just swerve right into it is, I was talking to Ricardo Garcia about the word networking, and I've also been talking to other people about the word networking and how that word has gotten kind of a little cringy. However, I'm hearing from a lot of folks, including yourself right now, like, oh, make friends and collaborate with them, but don't come off icky, right? Don't come off and be like, "Hi, shake your hand. Here's my business card. I provide these services," right? Because that's kind of how we were. I mean, when I was in school, it was like, yes, go to these functions, have your business card ready, have your 30-second pitch ready. And I'm like, that's how I was taught to like network, right? Like that was the word. But now I feel like networking just is gotten icky. And can you share with the listeners, like obviously the word networking is icky, but the idea, the principle of it is exactly what you were saying, is to go meet people. Clearly, it has worked for you in many different ways. But can you share with the folks, like, how do you, like, okay, imagine, like, I'm shy though, like going out and like meeting up with people, like that's so scary, right? And like,
Mm-hmm.
how do you, is there, I'm sure maybe you're an introvert at some case. I see you, like you're like an extrovert, but I feel like we're all somewhat introverted in some
I
way.
am.
How do
Yeah.
you get yourself out there though? Like, how do you, you're like, oh my God, look at all these people and I don't know any of them. What do you do?
It's more so the curiosity of just knowing someone before what their job is. Know
Mm-hmm.
someone as a human. What I do
Mm-hmm.
to myself first is that whenever I'm like, I don't even try to go to networking events. I already know it's gonna be like suffocating in tension. I'm just like, I don't know what. Like I'm like, guys, like I have hobbies and interests, guys. Like I, when I tell people I have hobbies and interests, that is a big leverage.
Okay.
Because people have hobbies and interests and we really love to tap into like those hobby and interests. So what I would usually do is like whenever I meet someone or like when I go to whatever a networking event because I have to or like I have to be there for an event. Sometimes I would go up to people and be like, "Hey, like I really want to get to know you. Like what are you what are your hobbies and interests?" Like and they tell me like, "Oh, we love sports and everything." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like tell me more." It's the
Mm,
presence of being interested in the person, but not
yes.
like it's like getting to know them in a level where it's like, okay, we get it, we have a job and everything, but tell me more about you. I want to know more about you. What do you like
Exactly.
doing? And then
Yeah.
and it's like how you make a friend from school. It's like you never ask like their password things or anything. You just ask them like, hey, what do you enjoy doing? I really
Right.
would want to do. And then that's when they open up conversations and it feels more casual and you're like, okay, they feel like they're more comfortable with me and maybe I can just say, hey, I would love to know like where you're working. I just want to know what's up. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm really working in this big time or small time company. And
Mm.
I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm like, what do you do for work and all this? And that's where it goes.
Yeah,
And I'm
and
like,
that's what
okay,
goes in.
yeah. And then that's when I also switch up where it's like, okay, we're talking about work, but then I'm also talking to them as a person where it's like, okay, we're talking about work
Mm.
now. Where it's like, okay, like have you been to this event lately? Like I noticed that you said like it's like
Mm-hmm.
going back to their hobbies and interests where it's like, you talked about you liked anime. Like what's your favorite anime? It's like those
Mm-hmm.
casual talks where it's like you're tapping into their interests and hobbies that makes them more comfortable being around you. Because
Yeah.
I've seen it with people where they're like, okay, here's my resume, pitch deck, and everything, and I was just like sometimes some people do that to me, and I'm like, thank you. I don't know what to do with this. I'm just like, and then people tell me like they're like, oh my gosh, like you're my like networking friend, or like like you're someone I've networked. I'm like, oh, I thought, oh, okay. Oh, did you ask about who I was as a person? I would love to know
Yep.
you as a person because sometimes like when people do networking and it's icky, it's like they just want to know the front. Like they're like, okay, give me the bag, give me the job. Like I only
Yeah,
know
they
you
want to
because of the
know like
title.
what can you do for me? Like, right? Like
Yes.
that's how, I mean, and like it's so icky because that's literally not verbatim, but I remember when I was in design school, it was like just when you get to know people, like see what you could do for them, what they could do for you. And I'm like, I've always thought that was like weird to me because it's like, well, I'm not just a service. Like, like I am also a human being with like
Yeah.
interests. I mean, and it's really fascinating to hear um, from the newer generation that when we say networking, there's kind of like a
It's like, but like,
reaction.
yeah. And then, like, that's what they've known always. It's always to have a pitch deck and everything. That's great. If people like to do that and some not working, like, older peeps want to, like, know more about that, that's great. I think the way I work it is just like getting to know the person as a human, getting to know what their interests and
Mm,
hobbies is before I
yeah.
get to know their title. Because once I know their title and everything, it's like I it's like it's not like it's bad or anything, but it's more so like if I know who they are, like as their title and everything, it kind of like puts a face where it's like, oh, okay, you're that Netflix person, you're that this one,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's
and
almost
then
like a
you're,
bias, right? Like you have to suddenly you're like, oh, you're the VP from big box company. You're like, oh, suddenly you're like, oh, okay. Like you're
yeah,
like you click. Like it you
yeah.
have to put on this face now. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
And then it's more so like I would rather know someone before I know their title and job. I want to get to know them as a
Mm,
person. Because
yes.
over time, like once you make that relationship or connection happen, that's why I tell people like do not rush a connection or like a friendship. That's how you do it things because like once you get to know them as a person, and you're like, "Oh, I forgot to ask you this. Like, where do you work?" And they're like, "Oh, just so you know, I'm like from Netflix from VP." And I'm like, "Oh, so we've been
We've been talking for
oh,
like the last 30 minutes and
you
you're like
know,
a really important kind of a really important person.
and I'm like, you know what? That's great. But anyways, what's your favorite anime? And they're like, oh my gosh, like, and they're like, oh, thank you, like you're getting to know me. And I'm like, yeah, like,
Yeah. I'm sure it's
that's how
refreshing.
it is
Yeah,
refreshing.
I'm sure it's refreshing for the people on the other end receiving or, gathering getting like meeting you because a lot of folks, I think, especially in LA, is we do lead with the identity of our jobs first. Like I feel like that's usually like, oh, what do you do? That's the question. Like, oh, what do you do? And you're like, oh, I'm so and so, blah blah blah. And so you kind of like you lose a little bit of the human parts of it. And I love that you're leading with the human part of it for sure.
It is.
Um, so, what would you say for students right now who are still in school? Let's say they're in portfolio class or they're about to jump into the industry. What would you share with them that they could be doing right now? So, let's say they're a year out from graduating. What would you be doing, Ria, as like a senior?
I think what I would do is definitely tap into your social media. I know a lot of people
Mm,
don't use social media a lot, but it's a great way. How I think about how I use social media is to just document about your process because at least you see like where you first started to where you are now. That's how I do things. Like
mm-hmm,
I'm like, okay
mm-hmm,
guys, there's
mm-hmm,
like a behind the scenes, or like, hey
mm-hmm.
guys, like this is what I'm doing, or even like go out of your way to visit a lot of the hobbies that you're interested in, to like a lot of like creative events, volunteer, do all of that. But also, like what I say, the reason why I'm a risk taker is I choose calculated risks. If you're volunteering in a place that doesn't like respect you, I think that's out. But if you're volunteering in a place that you see growth and you know you're being supported, okay, continue doing that. And then, how would you jumpstart for your next
Mm,
opportunity?
mm-hmm.
That's why I was able to leverage my progress is because I'm trusting the people who can leverage me up in a way where it's like I feel supported, I feel safe,
Yeah, yeah,
I don't feel like I'm exploited. Feel safe and it's okay. Always say no if you don't feel comfortable. I know as a creative we're like, oh my gosh, we should do this, do this, do this, and I'm like,
yeah.
it's okay to say no if you don't feel safe. There's always other opportunities, and also make your own opportunities. Make your own opportunities. If
Yep.
someone
Yeah.
cannot, if you see something, just do it. Sometimes we have to take action towards what we want for our own future.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah.
mean, I speak so like yes, I plus one all of it. Like me personally, like I always wanted to be a professor. I wanted to be a teacher so bad that nobody was hiring me as a professor. That I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just start doing my own workshops, and I'm just gonna get in front of these people because when the day comes that I become a teacher, at least I've already practiced being in front of people and instructing at some sort of capacity. So I love the make yourself the opportunity even if it doesn't if you don't get it
Yes.
because it's
Because when
always just
you
yeah because it just there's so much that you could do, right? It's so endless.
exactly, and then to add on to that, like if you feel like you're lacking a skill or you want to be in a space you want to gain that skill, it's really good to because a lot of people tell me like, okay, don't do work for free. I did work for free to be where I'm at right now. I'll be
Yeah, of
honest,
course.
like
Yeah.
everyone did. But also at the same time, if you see yourself in a place where like I want to reach that goal no matter what,
Mm-hmm.
try to envision it and take steps to do towards it, even if it's the
Mm-hmm.
scary ones. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you feel like, oh, I want to do something that I want to do, okay, like I know you're scared, but like do it. Like
Yeah.
sometimes it's gonna be scary, but like try playing with it and be like social experiment where it's like, okay, this is not gonna
Mm-hmm.
work out. This is gonna work out. So yeah, it's a lot of that.
What would you say has been the biggest learning curve that you were like, oh, I was not expecting that whatsoever? Like, no one prepared me for this in school whatsoever.
Learning that I have to pivot towards what the economy is saying. Sometimes, like
Mm,
I'm like, one day I was like doing graphic design, but then I knew the job market was bad. But then I was like, oh, I want to do video, but I don't know how to do video. But the learning curve was doing video. Honestly,
right. Oh,
that
okay. Yeah.
was like
Yeah.
being able to be put in a position where sometimes they're like, hey, you do video, right? And I'm just like, I'm just doing videos for fun. But they're like, no, we want you. And I'm just like, all right, I'll take it as a project. But then when you bring the project and bring the deliverables, you're like, oh, wow, like I did that. And
Yeah.
it starts happening over there. So it's just like very much of an experimentation. I don't know if I'm rambling. Can you repeat that question again? I'm so
No,
sorry.
you did. No, that's exactly what yeah, I mean, because what was the learning curve? And the video was a big learning curve for you because, again, you are a graphic designer by trade. And I think so many of us kind of fall into that, right? Like, brush lettering was it for me. Like, I did brush lettering to just have fun. And then suddenly I started getting hit up to be like, can you do a workshop? Can we hire you and do this? I was like, I'm not the greatest person when it comes to brush lettering, but like I'm happy to continue learning and like if this is the opportunity that you're gonna give me for so that I can learn, that's great. And so um yeah, just like kind of picking up I mean, I think that's kind of what we are as graphic designers at times. It's like a jack or Jill of all trades. And that's what makes us really resilient, I
Yeah.
believe. I was just on a call earlier this morning and we were talking about AI and they were saying like, well, graphic designers have always been resilient. Like we've always had to deal with new technology like every 3 years. Like this is like we can just pick things up and be like, how does this work? Okay, great.
It really
That's
is that. It's like it
yeah.
really is that. Like we just like we get put into a world where like, oh my gosh, new technology, but we're like, okay, how do we go about it? It's usually the most simple, like you don't need a lot of like programs to be where you
Mhm.
are right now. I think
Mhm.
what really taught me was to be okay not having so much, but let your mind be more creative because that's where all of the
Mm.
work happens. A lot of people think like, oh my gosh, like we need the latest technology and all this and that. No,
Yes.
I use the latest version of my video editing site, and then I'm just like, I don't have a studio, so I'm just like I use other platforms to fix some audio and all that for free, so I don't have to pay
Mhm.
much. And it's okay. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars to be able to get your program. I think what works
Yeah.
exactly, and I think what works best is that restrict yourself from doing so much, but then letting your creative mind be creative whenever there's like restriction.
Like being creative in ways, like if there's like a financial barrier to purchasing a software, like how can you go around and still do what you need to do, but not pay so much money? I like that. I like that a lot. It's like you're being resourceful, which I know, like, I mean, we could talk about this like on a whole different episode, but just like my whole gripes is just the accessibility to all of these softwares and programs, like how expensive it is for especially emerging designers. Like it's insane that, you know, everyone is entering this job market and they need specific programs, but it's too expensive and they don't have a job to pay for it because because they need to use the software to like get the job. So I love that you're very creative and trying to find a solution. And I remembered what I was going to ask you earlier. You had mentioned that you have done some work for free. Now, tell me a little bit about how, because I know that I even tell my own students, like, try your best to not do free work because obviously we don't want anyone taking advantage of you. But there are times where doing a project for free could actually be beneficial, right? Like I think so. From your perspective, when is it okay to do work for free?
I've had both sides where I've experienced where my work for free did not take the turn for the good, but then there are times where it did take the turn for a good. Was
Mm-hmm.
when you have to trust the people that you're working with. Like if you
Yep.
like what I'm saying right now, the reason why I went with Hello World Studio and I'm working with them voluntarily was because I knew the space that I was going into was being accepted, number one,
Mm-hmm.
encouragement, and then is there any opportunity to feel elevated or like feel like I'm being cooperative or like, feeling a space where I feel like I was belong. That's why the reason I was like, okay, like I can see myself, like even the job market's bad right now, but right now I really do feel like I can trust this person that can teach me a lot of things within this. And
Mm.
that's how I did it. The things that I did for work was because, okay, sometimes when I do works for free, it's because like I enjoy it. Like it's more of
Yeah.
the outcome where it's like, oh, this is more fun. Oh, you know what? Like
Yeah.
it's something to put in my portfolio. I did for free. I'm learning something from it. You can do that. Like, but
Mm-hmm.
the way to balance that out versus like, okay, you need to start getting paid is when once you're doing work for free, you really have to ask yourself, okay, is this person really demanding me to do this work like quickly and everything? Like I'm not being respected for my time because you need to know your boundaries. If you're getting into work for free, you're like, okay, like are they respecting my boundaries and respecting like my time? Because if they were asking like a project where it's like, oh, we want your photos for free, but we want it the timestamp or timeline to be the next day or 2 days later.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then if they're not respecting you and then they're like not giving you flexibility, you're like, okay, like hold up, why am I doing work for
Like, why
free
am
and
I
you want
stressed out
this?
for you?
Like, why am I stressed out? It really is all that. And then, yeah, I've learned to say no to opportunities where I'm like, okay, this is not what I want to do for free. I think it was good for meantime, but I guess I'm ready to go for my next step. So yeah,
Yeah.
like knowing
I
when to
I
do it.
Yeah, like having a level of discernment of when you should offer free work and when you should say no. Because I know that for Hello World, to offer a little bit of clarity to our listeners, Hello World sort of has like two pillars. One is obviously like the studio side. That's all very like, for profit. We bill our hours, and then we have the community pillar where I tell our team like, hey, like I don't even get paid for any of the community work that we do. This is all voluntary. Everybody is volunteering if you want to participate. But as a studio owner, I love what you said about like you got to make sure that if you're giving your time for free, that you trust the person and the person is going to give you, empower you to do things. And that's exactly how I believe the philosophy should be when you're someone like myself who has projects for the community and you're asking people to volunteer. It's like, well, I got to make sure that I can at least, at the very least, like if someone like asks me like, oh, do you know someone? I'd be like, yeah, it's Rio for sure. Or like just empowering you to really step into roles that I know that could benefit you. So like again, we all volunteer for work in progress, but I was like, you know what? I was like, I think Ria would really love to try and be MC. I think she would really benefit from the practice of being in front of people because I certainly do not need to be standing up in front of any more people yapping. And so I was like, let me see if like Ria would love to MC and you're such a natural at it. So, and now I see you doing it like in front of cameras and in front of other people. So I always try to make sure that if I am asking people to volunteer or giving them opportunities to volunteer, that there is a return on investment, even if it's not money, right? And I think like having that level of discernment on your end of knowing like, okay, I can trust this person, I can't trust this person. Because I've definitely also been in that boat where I've volunteered a lot for different places, and sometimes for sure I'm like, okay, yeah, I could see growth here. And then sometimes, unfortunately, I learn at the end that like, oh my god, they were just using me this entire time. This sucks. This sucks.
I like the fact that you mentioned also the fact that you're mentioning like yes, this is very volunteering, like the very
Mm-hmm.
open clear communication of when you trust someone is when they first come forward with the opportunity and they're like, yes, it's something. But the reason why I trusted like certain people to do free work is because they're like, hey, holds up, just so you know, it's volunteering, you're not gonna get
Mm-hmm.
paid. And I'm just like, all right, okay, clear communication,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
And you're like, you know what's up, because like like I don't have to dig and be like, oh my gosh, I'm getting exploited. No, it's already there, it's laid out. Like,
yeah,
I would
yeah, yeah,
rather
yeah, yeah.
work with a leader who tells me, oh, like, this is what we're doing, it's not gonna get paid, but we're gonna try our best to help you. If you need anything, please give us a shout out. If there's any flexibility, let us know. It's like
Mm-hmm.
giving like a clear blueprint of what's already expected, and you don't have to find digging for it, because I can tell the difference with someone that you're being used is like you have to dig for more information versus someone that if you work with, you're like, okay, it's already laid out, they're already saying like all the things that you've been wanting to say, and you don't have to feel like uncomfortable where it's like, okay, like, is this gonna
Trying to
get
read between the
paid
lines.
tonight? And then yes, versus someone's like, oh yeah, we're gonna let you do this. We're not gonna be clear and everything. You will know. You will know the two difference
Yeah, I
because
think it's so. I love that you said that because, like, I remember when I was volunteering for other places, or like I thought it was actually paid, but it's actually turned out being volunteer because they were not clear from the get-go. It sounded like it might have been paid, but I wouldn't really know. And that's on me too, right? Because I was too scared to ask. Because I was always afraid when I was an emerging designer to be like, is this billable or not billable? Like I didn't know I didn't have the language or the confidence to ask, and so sometimes I felt like I got swindled into volunteering gigs by accident. No one that, just so on the record, it's nobody that I'm like, it's not AIGA or Type Thursday or anybody like that. Like, these are like small companies that I felt swindled me. But that's also because, again, I didn't have the tools. And
yeah,
so being able to have the tools to ask these questions, to drive for clarity, to ask for clear communication is very important.
yeah,
And laying it all out, right? Like I try my best to be like, hey, this is a volunteer thing. You do not have to do it. If you'd like to, here's what we're going to do. Like, I'm going to do it, and
I
and it's
love the
gonna be
fact that you say
fun.
that. I love the fact that you said that because it has propelled me to do my own community, I would say. Because
Mhm.
I tell people, like, hey, just so you know, you're not getting paid, but I would
Mhm.
love my best to help you guys. And that has brought more reputation towards me for people like, they're like, oh, we're willing to volunteer even despite that. And I'm like, it's because learning to be a leader is learning to be open, like, open
Yeah,
about anything,
transparency. Yeah.
because it's scary enough to be like, hey, is everything like billable, is this gonna be paid, is this everything, because like when I do that, I'm just like, okay, I don't really want to talk about, I don't want to communicate about like how much money there is and everything, because I'm like, okay, like I know it's gonna be hard. But the fact that you did that, it's like relieves my stress, where it's like, okay, I don't have to figure things out like from the
Okay.
get-go,
Yeah.
because it's already out
Yeah.
there, versus
Yeah,
someone
yeah,
where it's like,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
be-
I didn't realize, I'm not that I didn't realize, but I'm learning that, like, by being so forthright about just everything about volunteering, it actually helped folks like you feel better about approaching, because sometimes people might want to be involved in things even if it's not paid, but if you're scared to ask, you're probably like, you know what, I just want to do it then.
yeah.
Like,
And
you know,
it's
and yeah, and it's not because
exactly,
you're scared, but again, it's like you just don't have the tools to ask, like, hey, is this billable, or like, what are the parameters of this project, et cetera, et cetera.
exactly. And then it's the fact that, like, as an emerging designer, I know they won't ask, but the fact that you put it out there is like, okay, I feel more better now. And then it's like, it's good. And a lot of people should do that. A lot of people should be straightforward, because when the time comes where I have to be like, okay, is this billable and everything, it takes a
Mm,
lot of energy to be confrontational.
right,
I'm okay being confrontational, but it takes a lot of energy, and I'm like, okay.
right. No one likes doing it.
And then, you don't know how the person's going to be, like, are they going to be aggressive, are they going to be like, oh, like I thought like you're going to be work, like you're going to,
Mm-hmm,
it's like,
mm-hmm.
the communication. But yeah, like those are the
Just
things
very
that,
much clear communication.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna ask you because we're moving into our spicy question and then we're gonna wrap up, which I cannot
Okay.
believe because I'm like looking at the time. I was like, how has it already been almost an hour already? So, I mean, I touched on this a little bit and I asked you earlier what was like the most challenging thing that school didn't teach you. But what is there another thing, like a more interpersonal skill? So that, that was a software skill that you had a learning curve on. But is there anything that you wish school would have taught you that you're now facing in the industry? You're like, God, I kind of wish my professor would have went over this. And like, no tea, no shade to any of the professors at CSUN or anything like that. But like, cause I'm not a perfect professor either.
Yeah.
But is there anything you're like, oh, I would tell my emerging designers this?
I would say like talking to people, which I had to do outside of my job. Like no, outside of like my school, which they taught me because they're like, okay, here's a portfolio, here's your website, all this
Mm,
and that. Like it's like in the books, like you gotta learn this. Okay, yes, it's good to have that. It's good to have a portfolio, website, and everything. But people forget, like in networking things, like what I told you, people forget that they're people, you know?
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we're taught in school, we're like, okay, these professionals, they're gonna look at your thing, they're gonna be looking at your thing, and they're gonna be
Yeah.
like, they're gonna check if you're a great fit and all that and this. But now as someone who's like behind, like in like
Did.
talking to these, I'm just like, hey guys, what's your hobbies and interests? Like I know you
Right.
guys are doing work, I know you guys are doing work, but like other than that, like you can tell the
Mhm.
nervousness. They're like, oh my gosh, like this isn't what we're supposed to be taught, like how to talk to them as a like as a friend. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm just like, okay, I get it. Like you guys have really good work. I saw it already, but like,
Yeah.
do you guys have anything outside of that? Like like sometimes
Yeah.
yeah, like have hobbies or interests, but then also at the same time to come back to that, never be mean to someone. Don't even be mean. Like that's not. Mm-mm.
It, it is really shocking. I always tell folks, my students or emerging designers, like, do not burn bridges because you would be like the world is smaller, but LA design community is even smaller, and it is
It is.
shocking. It is
It
so
is.
shocking to hear whenever I talk to people. Where like I'm like, oh, you know that person too, or like you're always just like 1 degree away from like knowing another person, and it's
Exactly.
insane. Like I did not know that when I was not that I burned bridges, but I definitely don't burn bridges. If I've ever had to burn a bridge, it was because like it was probably when I had to fire like a client or something because they
Yeah.
were so toxic.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the community, it's like, yeah, be nice to everyone. I mean, I've
It,
certainly had my rounds where there were some folks in the community who were very unkind to me, but I'm also very like, it's fine,
yeah.
whatever,
It
whatever. The world
is.
is it's really not that big of a deal. Like we're and really like in the place that we're in today now with the landscape, it's more important now than ever to like all hang on to each other and support each
Mm-hmm.
other and like you said, like coming from a place of abundance and looking out for one another, even though how difficult it can be for like you personally.
Exactly.
So I really love this conversation, Rhea. Like I feel like we could go on forever. Like I'm sure I'm gonna have like a second episode with you at some
Can
point.
I add on to this
Yeah,
before
sure,
we
sure.
this?
Yeah, of course.
As someone who's a community creator, and then I'm starting to see all of my friendships like come together, where they're like, "Oh, I know this one, and I know this one."
Yeah.
You gotta be careful. Like in this place, you gotta be careful of what you say. Sometimes don't
Mm,
be like, oh, like I know sometimes like back in college I would say there were some people that were saying, oh my gosh, so and so and like this and that. I don't even want to know. I'm like I need to do my work. I've been told many times, people behind my back, like people like saying things, and I'm just like, you know what, it's better to just go outside, be alone, look at the sky, and just immerse yourself in whatever the drama is. Because when you're like leveling up in your own future, and that
mm,
person is like looking at you and they're like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have said that, you're like, yeah, like mind your business, mind your ways. I think the best way to always gain abundance is like if you feel like there's tension in something and then you don't want to be part of, it's okay to not be there and then go back to your space
Mm,
and create your own space of healthy. So it's like you don't have to be a creative where it's like within the circle of like whatever you thought was like okay, like I have to do this, I have to know like so and so and all this and that. If you know it's toxic and there's too much tension there, make your own community, and it's
right.
okay. If it's like a small baby, at least it's like, okay, yes, this is so nice because it's like
Yeah.
you're in your little garden just like planting things and you don't have to think about what whatever the thing is because like that's how you burn bridges once you get to know a lot of things and you're like, "Oh."
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Try your best not to be like, if it feels mean girls, then just walk away and make your
Walk
own
away.
community.
Just go to a
Yeah.
cafe and be like, "I got my matcha, guys. I don't even want to know what's I don't even want to know what's up there, but if yeah, so that's one of my spicy things. It's just like learn to be nice to people. Always have a mindset where it's like, okay, if you don't feel comfortable with this person, it's okay to walk away and be like, hey, it's okay. Thank you
Yeah.
for your time. I think I want to go back to the cafe and read my book. You know,
Very much.
watch my
Oh
anime.
yeah, yeah. Oh my God. That's a really great way to end. Is just like be kind to people. Understand that like if you say something to someone, they might carry that well into their career, and if they look back at you, they might be like, "Oh, well, that person said that one thing about that one person, so I'm not gonna hit them up." So just be kind to each other. So is there anything that you're currently excited about or like you're working on that you'd like to share for us to put in like the show notes? I'll obviously add your Instagram and all that stuff, but anything that we should be looking out for?
I think right now, just look up, like, be in touch with my nowhere now here like Insta.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna usually also start a YouTube for that because I for nowhere
Yes.
now here because I've heard many people say like, oh my gosh, you should start YouTube, and I'm like, you know what? I think all of my interviews should be like in different platforms at this point because I love seeing where these contents are going to be, and if you want to see more people and more creatives that talk about their story from being a student to an industry leader or whatever, like, they're doing music, or someone who's working a 9 to 5 but they have a hidden hobby or creative interest.
Yeah.
I showcase that throughout my Nowhere Now Here Instagram to
Yeah.
showcase the creatives along the way, and I love talking about it. No, not love. I
Amazing.
not love talking about it. I love them talking about it, and I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
shoot
yeah,
it and
yeah, yeah.
edit.
You love learning from them. Yeah, I mean the nowhere now here format is already like a landscape portrait so you or a landscape dimension. So you might as well put it on YouTube. Like I'm here for it. Like I've been told the same thing. They're like, you should start making YouTube content. And I'm like, do you guys know how hard it is to make YouTube content? It's like it takes a lot of time to do filming and editing and like getting things up. But I think you will do a beautiful job at it.
Thank you.
And you're gonna learn so much about like like, you're going to learn so much. And I think, again, that's one of the beautiful things about you is that you have a high risk tolerance and you love learning and you're just like good vibes all around. And so it's just gonna, it's
Yeah,
all going up from here.
of course. And I always tell people, like, if you ever feel like you're that lonely creative in the art book, sketchbook, when you're in your middle school, college days, it's okay. Be in your little circle, find people who like what you're doing, and just like go along with the flow. It's better to be safe and feel appreciative and do whatever you like. And yeah, continue what you're doing. And then also, always learn. Always learn. And it's okay to get, it's okay to be bummed out, but like, it's also okay to learn from it and then continue going forward. Learn from having fun.
Yeah. Keep learning and just keep going. Well, thank you so much, Ria. This was so, so wonderful.
All right.
We'll obviously be in touch with future events, but it was so wonderful having you. Thank you
Thank
so much for your
you.
time. Yay!